Welcome to an out-of-the-box playthrough video. This one is rather fresh. This is a game called Luddite that is currently on Kickstarter. And as part of their Kickstarter, they have a print and play download for their first level. And before I pledge, I thought I would download it and have a bit of a play. I thought, well, why not record a video at the same time? So I have downloaded the rule book, which is a bit incomplete because the game is based in a dystopian future and you're hacking, and it's kind of cyber-based, cyber hacking, cyberpunk, and it's going to have a graphic novel from what I gather from the campaign, and there'll be sets of levels that map through as you do hacking and read a bit more of the graphic novel. I haven't seen the graphic novel. You can read about that on the campaign on Kickstarter if you're that way inclined. But they did have a rule book which has bits that are missing because it's to do the graphic novel. But it gives a just overview of the game. I have printed it on A3, so this is a lot bigger. I think the files are A4, but I thought I'd do A3 because it makes it a lot easier with a roll and write. This is a roll and write, so I've got a pen, I've got a couple of dice, and I've got a movement token. I've read through the rules and I've not played a game. So this is quite literally my first playthrough. So that'll give you an idea of the complexity. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk through the general gist of what's happening on the board, and then we'll see how it goes. So I've read through the rules, and we've got our playboard. So on one side, so we're hacking into this, they call it the Ned entity, and we want to do damage to it. And so we have like a movement token that we're going to be moving around, doing damage within the circuitry. And the aim is to go from the entry in this area through to an exit. If you don't make the exit by the end of a clock cycle, last clock cycle, you don't do any damage, and basically it's game over. So you're going to have to plan that. So on this side, we've got a whole lot of resources and a whole lot of activities that we can do to damage the circuitry that we're trying to hack into. So there's a clock component here, and every round we have to roll 3 dice, and we have to apply one of those dice has to be applied in the clock. And so we could mark off time with the dice. If we mark off large ones like 4, 5 or 6, then we keep a tally here, and that actually does damage at the end. So it means our clock will go quicker, but it does also mean that we get some damage. So if we're using 1, 2, 3, slow clock, less damage. So there's kind of a balancing hack there. So of our dice, we roll 3, one of them has to go onto the clock. Okay, and so as we're hacking through this environment, we have a set of resources down here that we acquire. So if you'll see here in the clock, there's like a little lightning bolt, and then there's a little gearbox, and then there's like this one's a credit token element. We gain those as we cross them off. So we actually gain resources as time goes by. They go into our resources here. You start with 1 gearbox and 1 power. And as you use them, you cross them off. So this is a roll and write. As you gain new ones, you circle them and then cross them off as you use them. Each of these symbols can be spent. So there's like almost like the shop front here. So we can use credits to duplicate a dice. So if we roll a 4, we can get another 4 if we use 1 credit. If we use 2 credits, we can pick any number we want. And that's in addition to our 3 dice that we roll. If you use a gearbox, you can take a dice plus or minus 1, and you can do that twice. So you can have up to 2. If you use a power, you can move 3 in the circuit as you move through it, and there's some other. If you use 2 of them, you can move into any node without having to pay the price, which we'll talk about prices in a minute. So we need a combination of spending dice and getting resources that we can then use. We can get roll bonuses here. So if you get a 1 and you cross that off, you can get a credit, which will go into your resource, which you could then use somewhere else. These ones are then damage ones, so you could cross those off. So if you've got some spare dice that you don't currently want to use, you can put them into some of these other things to gain resources. If you put a 2 on there, you're going to get 2 gearboxes, which you then can use somewhere else. The actual hack itself is organized on this side. And so each of these numbers we can cross off. And when you cross off a whole row, you can then activate the code, which is on the top. And so you've got horizontal and vertical lines that you can cross off. And then when you cross them off, there's the potential to do big damage. And each of these symbols is mapped on the board, but you can't actually initiate them until you've unlocked them. So this one here is there. So if you've already crossed off a 5, a 1, a 6, a 3, then that's ready to go. You have to move there, and then you could trigger it if you've unlocked it, and that would cause 12 damage at end game, and you'd cross that off. And so that's a way of basically targeting big damage points in the circuit that you're trying to destroy. So a lot of this then is dependent on allocating your dice across the different aspects, basically up here, generating resources which then allow you to do the dice manipulation down here, and moving through the circuit on the left. And so to move around the circuit, we move orthogonally, so diagonals, and you'll see that each block has got basically a Boolean conditional on it. So this one's saying circuit, this is only open if 2 or 3 switches are open. This one will be open if switch 2 is on. This one will be open if 4 and 6, so both of them are valid. And this one here will be open if 5 is off. And so you've got this block here of the current situation of your switches. So they all start as off, and you can allocate dice to mark off activity. So if you've got a roll to 1, you could then tag that on, and then switch 1 would be on. And so again, you have to look at where you might be able to move versus what switches are open in the circuit, because they will block you. These ones that have got numbers on them, blue ones, they are also locked by that number. So to move to this one, you'd have to have unlocked the 6, you'd have to apply the 6 there to unlock it, and when you actually go to move through it, switches 2 and 3, or 2 or 3 in this part would have to be open. These can be unlocked at any time, you don't have to be on them. So if I rolled a 1, I could say, well, I'm going to unlock that one because I know I have to get through there to get to the end. And so you can kind of prep where you're going to go, and then think about, so in the first turn, unless I unlock 3 or 2, if I'm deciding to go this direction, I definitely can go downward, because I know that I can get to there, because I know that those are currently all off, all those switches are off, and I haven't unlocked anything yet. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, well, these green ones are resources, so when you move on to them, they activate and you get more resources which you can spend. And so yeah, so that's kind of how it works. Oh, well, you move with dice as well, so you can spend dice. So if you roll a 2, you can roll 2, and you use the dice to move through, as long as you conform to the switches that are determining whether you can actually move into a different node. And if these ones are locked, then they're going to block. So I couldn't actually move down that one until I've unlocked the 5. So I'd have to unlock the 5, use a 5, and make sure that 5 is currently off on the switches. And that's kind of the gist of the game. So we're kind of trying to do damage. At the end of the game, you add up all your damage, and there's a little chart that determines whether you've been successful or not. Well, good, poor, excellent, damage. But if you don't get to the end, you don't do any damage. So here we go, let's have a go and see how bad I am at allocating dice and following rules. Okay, so round one, throw some dice. Okay, so I have to put something on the clock, but you can do that at any time. I'm going to keep things simple. So why don't I spend the 3 on the clock? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get a power. So I'll bank that. I'm going to spend the 5 to unlock this one. So technically I could go in that direction. And we're going to use the 6. I kind of want to try this one. And this one's up here. So if I want to use that one, I'll use the 6 to take that off. And there we go, end of the round, easy. And then we'll do it again next round. Oh, okay. So what I could do is I could say, oh, well, let's use the 6, and I'm going to put it in my clock. So I get to tag one of those, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I get a free wheel. So I've got another cog that I could use. And then I was aiming for that one, so I need a 3. So I'll use I'll put these on here because then I can know what I've done. If I whack a 3 on there, that tags that off. And then I've got a 6. But I've got no money. What do we have? We can get some money. I could apply there. So if I do a 6 there, I use my 6 on the roll bonus, I get some cash. Okay, next round. All 2s. So I guess the 2's going on the clock. 1, 2, and I have a power. Okay, so I've got a 2. Don't need a 2. Well, I can't use a 2 on here. But to get to there, that's got to be off, and they're still off. So why don't I move 2? So switches 5 is off, switch 1 is off. So I'm in a good place there to do some damage. I've still got a 2. I'm a little bit worried I'm not going to get out. So why don't I use this other 2 and I'll unlock this one as preparation. Okay. I don't really want to use my resource. I want to hold the resource till I'm halfway through my clock, and then I can do some more fun things. Okay, so I'll take the 4 and I'll take that. I'm going to use one of the gears, which I've got, to do plus or minus the 5 to make it a 4, which does that, which unlocks that symbol, which I'm currently on, which will trigger that, and I will do 9 damage. Maybe I should write it down as I go. No, I'll add it up at the end. So that's a good one. And I've got 1 left. I might throw that. What I want to use a 1 with. I could. Oh no, those have to be turned on to move there. So that's not going to help. I can move down. No, I can't because that's locked. Can't move down. What did I prep? I'll use 1. Oh, I didn't put 1 in the clock, did I? 1's got to go in the clock. So that's another gearbox unlocked. Okay. I think the quick look at the rolls. I think the target was about 50. It was the scoring at the end. What does it say? Scoring. Yeah, 50 was easy, 60 was medium, 70's hard. So I've got to get 50. Okay, so I'm going to try and get to this one now. To get to that one, if I go that way, oh, all sixes. That's rubbish. That's not going to help. What is that one? That one is this one down here. Okay, well, I'll use one of the sixes on that. That'll unlock that one. How do I plus or minus? I could use a gearbox. I'm not in a desperate hurry to do that though. If I am going to go that way, I'm going to have to unlock 5. So I'll use a gearbox to turn that into a 5, which will allow me to turn on 5. Because that will get me, I need 4 and 5. Oh, that's quite hard actually. I'm going to have to turn all of those on. And I've got a 6, which I'm going to have to do on my clock. So I get a bonus for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I get a credit and a power. Okay. Yeah. I have to start moving. Okay, so I'm going to do a 2 on the switch. So that'll turn on 2 because I want to head that way. Then I'm going to spend the 3 to turn on 3. And then I'm going to use the 6. That'd be a waste to use it on that. Why don't I use the 6 to... I don't want to use the 6 on. I want to unlock that one. That's a 5, isn't it? So I could use a gearbox. How many gearboxes? Yeah, I've got a gearbox. So I could knock off a gearbox to turn it into a 5 and knock off that one in preparation to get there. But I haven't done the clock yet. But I can use credit. So I'll use one of my credits to duplicate the 2, which I'll spend on the clock. Okay. So I've got gate 2 and 3 open, so I can use 1 to move, and I get another gearbox for free, because that's what you get there. What do I need to complete this? I need a 5. Gearbox will let me plus or minus, so I could, because I'm getting closer, so why don't I use that gearbox to turn that 6 into a 5, which will allow me to knock that on its head. I've got some money. I've got a lot of power. What can I use power for? I can use power to move, or I can just brake. Why don't I do that? I'm going to spend 2 power and just crunch into that one. I don't have to worry about the gates, and I get some credits. Okay, and I have to use 3 on the clock. So I have another gearbox. Now it's getting hairy. Bit of a waste really, because I had 5 on and I had to do 4 on anyway to get into there, but I'm going to try and get out. Okay, so what do I need? I need a 1. Okay, so I could spend 2 credits for anything, so I'll do that. That gets me a 1, which means that's active. Then I could just spend my 4. That will turn on 4, because I need that to turn on there. How do I duplicate a number? I I need a credit, but I've spent all my credits. What can I do with power? I can move up to 3. So I did the 4, didn't I? I didn't spend anything else. Might run out of dice soon. I'm going to spend 3 on the clock. And then I'm going to get more power. And then it's going to be a bit of a race to the end. I can go straight out. So I'm confident I can get out. Because I've got 4 on. I've got 4 and 5 on, so that's odd. 4's on, 3's off. Oh no, 3's on. I'll have to turn 3 off if I'm going to go that way. Anyway, I'm going to use this 4 to move. And I can, because I've unlocked that one, I get to do some damage. Okay. Oh, 1. I've got to unlock those though, don't I? So 5 will unlock that one. And I really want to slow my clock down. So I'm going to spend 1 on my clock. Otherwise I'm just not going to get out. And I need a 2 somewhere. What have I got? Oh, I've got lots of power though. I could just break it. Oh no, that one's unlocked, isn't it? I've unlocked that one, but I've got a 4. I don't need more power. How much power have I got? I've got 3. So that's fine. What I really want... Oh, why don't we do some damage? I'll do 1 on here. I'll use the 4 on there. Okay, so that was good. I think we should exit. Because I can just break that one. So I'm going to... Maybe I should do it properly. Yeah, I'll do it properly. I'll spend 2 to unlock that one. I will spend, I guess 3 goes on the clock. I get some credits and a gear. And what can I do with a 4? I've got credits, so I could duplicate something. And I will duplicate 4 is not going to help. I could duplicate the 3, so I'll duplicate the 3 to do some more damage. I've then got just, what can I do with gearboxes? I've got 2 gearboxes. I could oh, 3's on, isn't it? I forgot about that. I've got to turn 3 off. Okay, so I'll use a gearbox to turn that into a 3, which will turn that one off. So now that's on the off pile. And then I will use an energy to go 1, 2, 3, because those 2 are unlocked. 4 is unlocked, is on, and 3 is off. And then the final round, oh, I could get another round actually. So why don't I do that? So I've got a 1, put that in the clock, and see what damage we can do. So I could use a, what have I got? I've got power, I've got a gearbox left, which allows me, so I could turn that into a 5. And I've got a 3. Can I do a 3 with anything exciting? I've only got power. I'm not going to do anything with that. I don't think I can use that anything useful. And last turn, and then well, I can do the clock at the end. So can I use any of these? I can use a 2 to do some more damage. Yeah, and that's it, because I'll use the last one. Clock's out, but I made it to the exit, which is good. And then we dig up the scoring. Okay, so scoring, we start with the top one, which is the need model. Add any you receive from hitting critical nodes. So I hit 2 critical nodes. I got 9 and 15. It gives me 24. The next one is the hack module. Add up the points you received. Oh, okay, so there's damage rolls in there, which I didn't get any of. So that's a 0. Switches module, add up. I didn't burn out any of my switches. If you burn those out, you get 2. So I didn't do that. Clock module. Oh, okay, so I've got 2 6s. You tally the damage points are equal to their number. Okay, so that's going to give me 12 in the clock, which is pretty cool. Excess resources, you can add 1 damage for each unused multi-tool, 1 damage for each unused energy. Okay, so I've got 1, 2 energy. What about this one? I should have got some damage from that. I wonder where that gets done. Modules, clock module, excess energy, hack module. Oh, that's part of here, I think. Here, okay. So I'm just going to have a look at page 6 to see, let's see what they're worth. I think you get 2. Yeah, it's with 2 damage. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. So I actually got, yeah, 8. So that's going to get me 20, 30, 40, so 20, 30, 44, 46, which means I suck. Because the minimum was, I do believe, 50. Yeah, so 50 damage points. Anyway, I was pleased to get out, to be honest. There you go. That is a playthrough after 1 reading of the rules. Yeah, I think this could be quite interesting how you optimize your dice usage, and you can manipulate your dice, different pathways through. This is just level 1. I like the iconography, the ands and the ors, the knot, and I think the on and off is a bit weird, having a knot gate and a knot gate without the knobble on the end, but we won't worry about that. Anyway, that is playthrough of Luddite, currently on Kickstarter. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe and like.